I love this topic because I think as an entrepreneur, you always got to be thinking what's next, what's new, what's coming up, because that's where you get your edge, right? When you're thinking about something that's going to happen next year, usually everyone else is behind you. So kind of what I want to bring out today is just two things, is kind of think about what's the market really like compared to what it was and where it's going, and then also really look at some glaring things that are happening out there. But at the same time, think about the basic principles about real estate investing. We're going to talk about the 5 cash flow kind of drivers around real estate investing and ultimately what's going to make us all wealthy. So, but first, I heard this quote yesterday, and I love this, as I told you up there. Your success in your career will be in direct proportion to what you do after you've done what you've already been expected to do. You guys are all here, right? You guys all do something Monday through Friday. You guys, parents, husbands, wives, whatever it might be. Those are things that you just have to do in life. It doesn't matter how good you are at your 9-to-5 job. There's a ceiling to it. And what you do and the success that you make, it comes with what you do on Saturday morning, on Saturday night, what you try to sneak away from your 9-to-5 job to do. Whatever it might be, this just resonated with me so much. So I just, it's Brian Tracy. He's a speaker as well too. But I heard it. I was listening to a John Maxwell book. I'm a big fan of him. But I heard this and I love it. And I must have sent it to 20 people yesterday. So keep that in mind. You guys are doing the right thing because you're here, because you're doing it after hours, or doing it outside of what you're already supposed to be doing. Who am I? For you that don't know, born and raised not too far from here in Addison with this guy. Married for 13 years, father of 2. I live in St. Charles now. Transitioned from W-2 to real estate investing in 2003. The only other job serious job I had was in trucking. I mean, I worked at Pizza Hut, gas stations, all that type of stuff growing up, but I always kind of been entrepreneurial. Between 08 and 18, we did 482 Burr strategy properties, which turned into a turnkey operation kind of on accident. Right now, we buy and hold industrial stuff in the Collier County, so we'll talk about that. Big fan of these 1960s, 70s, 80 built buildings that they don't build anymore, and they're actually tearing a lot of them down. I got to be here on CNBC a few years ago with Sean Conlon. It was a pretty fun experience, which I hated and I'll never do again. But and then I'm manager broker and founding partner here at GC Realty and Development. So you guys were on our broker side here. But we have our property manager side that's on the other side, which is actually much nicer than this side. We manage 1,500 scattered site units around the city and suburbs and manage about 1 million square feet of commercial. All right, so we're talking about the market's different now. For you guys that have been in it for a while, 2000, 2007 was a crazy time. If you didn't walk away with closing with money, you did something wrong. You weren't taking advantage of the market. 2008, 2015, the world was ending, and if you had the opportunity to buy, that is an opportunity we'll never, ever see again, which is sad. And we'll never see it again, mostly because what 2008, 2015 did was brought Wall Street into the mom and pop business of landlording. So right now, if the market went down 10%, all these hedge funds and all that stuff would pick up on everything. There'll always be a floor to how low things can go, just because Wall Street's involved now. You missed out. We all missed out. I bought in the wrong neighborhoods. I didn't buy enough. We all. 2016, 2022, man, it's another crazy time. I don't know how many times I heard in that time period of I'm waiting for the market to crash again. I'm saving all my cash. And I used to tell people, it will never crash because you're doing that. In 2008, we were all in. Like I just said, if we didn't have 110% loan to value financing, we weren't taking advantage of things. So. A lot of people sat on the sidelines, man, and myself included on the single family type stuff, but that's where I got into the industrial stuff, and that really helped me because rents went up so much. 2023 and on, we're kind of in this next phase that started last year, and it's kind of exciting when you step back and look at it because it's creating a lot of opportunities for people that are paying attention. And that's my corny, don't want to miss out on this opportunity because your mindset's wrong. How's the game changed? Rents are keeping up with home prices. That's crazy. So a lot of people are out there right now saying, oh man, prices are going so high. It doesn't matter. Rents are pretty high up there as well too. If you're going to look, I look through properties kind of going through the 1% rule and kind of judging higher or lower than that. And And it's crazy what's keeping up, and the inventory that's still available, or the lower end single family homes that are out there that are still available because rents are keeping up. And this never done this. When you and me were buying stuff in early on, we used to buy stuff. I used to sell stuff, the same people you did. Yeah. And my pitch was, hey, let's buy this. You're going to be upside down $200 for a year. But as soon as the developer sells out, we'll sell it. We'll make 40 grand. All day long. Stupidest plan ever. I remember going to real estate investors and telling my pitch, and they'd be like, that's fucking stupid. And I'd walk away thinking like, he's an idiot.
My favorite meme on Facebook is I can't qualify with my taxes and W-2 for a mortgage for $1,200, but I qualify for rent for $2,000.
Yeah. So, but again, you were upside down. So when we had that big spike before the Great Recession, rents were not keeping up whatsoever. Mostly, and at the same time, it was cheaper to buy a place than it was to rent a place when it comes to security deposit and first down payment. New construction, one of the lowest in the nation here in Illinois. Anyone want to give a stab why? Labor costs, and they're not confident in the Chicago market. So that sucks, like overall, like maybe for 40, 50 years from now, like long-term growth. But that's total opportunity for us right now. That just means there's a constraint on housing. Investors not able to pivot to low inventory. How many people have you said, I want to invest, but I can't find a place? How many of you in here have said that? That's great. If that's your competition, that just means you got to put in the reps. Low owner-occupied interest rates creating more accidental landlords. So there's an issue with how many people have you said, I'm not going to sell this because I got a 2.5% rate. I know I got a property like that. Rates are higher. Is this good or bad? What do you guys think?
Doesn't matter as long as you have cash flow.
Yes. Even so, but why else are rates higher? Why else is it good?
There's less buyers out there.
Yes, or people less thinking that they can be buyers.
Slowing inflation.
It's total deterrent. Dude, interest rates is stupid to worry about. It's no different than if you're going to underwrite a property and your taxes are $3,000 or $5,000, you're going to make a decision on that. Does this make sense? Does it not make sense? Does this work at 6%? Does this work at 8%? These interest rates are right here where they were at in the early 2000s. So and people are investing back then. So, but while other people are in the mindset of like, oh man, again, we're back to I'm just waiting for rates to fall. Yeah, good luck, man. Good luck. Then you refinance. That's why they created the refinance, all right? So keep that in mind. But that's what the opportunity is, that advantage of other people's mindset that's tripping them up. Money's available to qualified people. Money was available to everybody back then. And I still I think right now they're coming out with pretty aggressive loan programs. I saw yesterday Wintrust, they have a doctor program. So if you're any sort of MD, you could literally buy a house 0% down. They'll do 100% financing.
Up to what, 875?
It was some crazy number. It was high. It was much higher, I think, even. But they have all these, the loan programs. Now, the loan programs got very creative before the recession, but anyone could get it. But now, the people that have good credit are able to get money. We got a guy here that'll give you money. Like, there's a lot of people out there that will give us money. It's great. So, access to information, web, and social. So just the opportunity just that we have all around the internet right now that you didn't have 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Just think about Google 10 years ago. Like Google is just totally different right now. If you Google up right now, I want to sell my house right now in 60172. How many pages do you think you'll get of it?
Endless.
Yeah, I mean there's probably about 18 like legit pages of like people that you might reach out to. But of course, there's 3,000 type hits or whatever on that. But those are a million wholesalers trying to digitally do it. You get on their list. Like there's opportunity there. So there's different ways on the web and social that weren't there before. Listen, I just started. I'm going to pitch you guys later on this, but I just started we've always had Instagram, right? It's companies, all that. But I started my personal page. I've talked to more real estate investors in the last 2 months and actually got connected to a couple people, got a couple deals, got some podcast guests. Is that how we connected? Oh my gosh, yeah, that's how we connected. Like it's amazing. Like I was missing out, and I'm in it all day long. So there's such an opportunity there of just like the two-way communication. So all these things right here are the things that are going to get you ahead of everybody else, because everyone else, these things are like they're deterring them. So keep that in mind. More government regulation and not slowing down. It's only going to get more and more strict. Is anyone familiar with how Australia works? Dude, Australia is crazy heavy regulated to the point where if you own a property, 85% of people have a property manager because they don't want to deal with the risk and the regulation and dealing with all those things. Here in the United States, it's about flipped, so it's about 35% have property managers, but it's getting to that point. We get hired all the time because people don't want to deal with Cook County. They don't want to deal with like whatever initials. I don't know what they are. I just don't know. I don't want to deal with it. I'd rather pay you the $150 a month to deal with it. So the regulation is a good thing for us because people get scared. Again, that's back to kind of the, Chicago's got all that regulation. They got to do this. They got the rental license. They got this. They got Cook County. They got the moratoriums, whatever words you're going to use. People are afraid of that. You just got to jump in and know. What was it to overcome that? It just takes knowledge, right? A lot of the fears of people, fear of people don't want to buy in a certain county or a certain city. A lot of it is just, I hate to use the word ignorance, but it's just like, I heard a horrible story. No, same reason people like, yeah, I don't want pets. This guy that I know worked with this other guy that's cousin, let a dog in one time and he destroyed the house. It's like, oh, all right, man. Like, all right, let's break this down. So, but that's the same type of mindset that this government regulation type thing. So, realty brokerage world is about to become a mess. But again, it's going to become a mess around a lot of people just not knowing what to do and how to do it. So, I'm kind of excited about the realtor brokerage type thing because I think that's going to change things for the good. That's a different conversation. But it comes back to this right here, and this is all those things right there. These things never change. The 5 drivers, the inflation. What are the other ways that you make money on a property?
Forced equity.
Appreciation.
Tax write-offs.
Tax write-offs.
Rental appreciation.
Rental appreciation.
Cash flow.
Cash flow. Debt pay down. Who's had a property 10, 15 years where all of a sudden like, holy cow, I only owe 50% of this place. That creeps up on you in a good way. Appreciation, income tax benefits, cash flow. I put this in here. I'll share everything. I'll share the whole thing with all you guys if you want. I'll share whether you want or not. So on Monday. So I got a bunch of QR codes stuff like here, so you guys don't have to be on. But I got a cool article there, just kind of on the cash flows, but on the different drivers. But here, just talk about this. During inflationary periods, which way do rents go? All right, are we in an inflationary period? Which way do the prices go? How much does it cost less or more to build a new house? I love the end. If anyone's given me their ear, they've heard me talk about how I love these small $250,000 to $350,000 single-family homes. They're great. How much does it cost to build? How much a new construction house is in Addison right now?
New construction.
How much do those go for an old Driscoll property? What would those go for?
Those are going for like $330 a square foot.
Yeah. So a couple people.
Just locked up one in the lake, new build, $299 was the price we locked it up at.
You buy it for $150 20 years ago.
Multi-built homes, but I mean, those homes are still sound like $700,000, $800,000.
$700,000.
It's insane.
South Elgin address out by me on Randall Road. You can't get in for $650 before benefits. So
St. Charles too.
yeah.
There's nothing over there that's at like $550 for a 2-1.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. So that's going to pull everything up. And who thinks inflation is going to go down? It might contract a little, but it's not going to do anything that's going to, it's not the wait for the market to crash moment. Real estate prices tend to go up. Rents tend to go up. Interest rates, which way? Cost of fixed loans? Values outpace inflation. So, man, even if you're at that 7 or 8%, and over a 20-year period, or that what we think is a high interest rate, man, inflation's going to take care of you on that. Like it's not going to be an issue. Debt pay down, man, I love this. I'm not a big fan of paying down your 2.5% mortgage, but every payment causes your debt to go down. Every payment causes your equity to go up. Right now, we're in a spot where you can get home equity lines pretty easy. I know my bank, we're going through it right now, so I have a line for doing some other stuff. They're going to do 85% loan to value on a drive-by appraisal, which you usually get the higher side of a drive-by. So So paying down debt is another way. I know a few people that have the strategy of they're buying only top properties right now. They're not killing it on cash flow, but their goal, what they're doing is they're taking that $200-300 a month cash flow that they could take out of pocket, and they're just putting it towards principal, and they're paying it down faster. And the one guy that he has a 17-year trajectory on his 30 years for everything that he's doing. So plus he's getting all the write-offs. You know, for a side note, there are some people that come to these groups that are more conservative. Like the debt pay down probably relates more to you, but you know, paying it twice a month or paying one payment a year, I think goes from 30 to 23 automatically. So if you have a $1,200 mortgage, you pay $1,200 an extra payment, or you pay $100 extra a month, your 30-year mortgage goes to 23, like 22 and a half, 23. What's that?
So it'll shave off.
Yeah, it's like 7 years. So yeah, pay an extra payment every year. I just went over this. Sometimes I talk thinking the slide wasn't in here, but I'm already just kind of behind. Yeah, but I did a little thing here. So extra $100 a month on a $500,000 loan, 33 months, you pay $85,000 less interest, and then if you pay an extra $291 a month, it'll be 77 months quicker, and you save $191,000 interest. So there's just ways that that turns into more cash flow faster. So if you can't have killer cash flow today, something like this sets you up for killer cash flow maybe in the years when you need it.
With this pay down, have you ever done like a huge chunk payment immediately to get really far ahead in the amortization so that then you are paying each month way more principal? Like
I've never done that personally. For my personal residence, I pay an extra just flat $1,000 a month. And I don't believe in doing this. But for my personal residence, it's like, all right, if I die, it's just $1,000 less my family's got to deal with. Like, so it's more of a family, personal, there's no strategy short of my wife will be as mad if I did something stupid and died. Let's see here, get a little graphic. Appreciation, man, this is huge. Man, has anyone kind of seen the appreciation that's happened over the last 20 years under our nose?
Over 100%?
Yeah, it's been crazy. You can't really see this, you'll be able to see it, but some of these, especially like Logan, like 211%, Humboldt Park, 252, you know, a place like Melrose Park, 110%. I mean, how many people look at Melrose Park as a Class A community, like across the board, there's neighborhoods. But yeah, it's crazy. So we always say on the podcast, time is your greatest asset. So this is where this comes in right here. For those of you who don't listen, you know, obviously we have a property management company, and every episode we have the landlord tips. So, you know, we have 230 landlord tips about just anything stupid that we've done or seen happen in the past. So it's a good little drill, and it's all really relative to local real estate. All right, income tax benefits. I got 2 CPAs in the room, so I always get nervous. But Mike did help me with some of these decks. So if it's wrong, it's right here, okay? Mike actually helped me last year with this, so maybe time changed if anything is wrong, okay? So I walked through kind of I had Mike help me walk through kind of a scenario where a single person lives in Illinois, makes $100,000, considered an active real estate investor, buys a single family home, costs $300,000, 95% loan to value, 30-year fixed. We even put the rates up there, monthly rent, 24, and just saying he's got zero cash flow. And for him doing it, I threw out, he was on the podcast, and I threw out his episode there too as well. So I ran these numbers. I won't kind of dig into it, but we went through this, and we did the mortgage calculator. But with a rental, so the same person would end up having a tax bill about, what was it? Let me run through this real fast. All right, this is what I want to see. All right, so with a rental, you get a refund. Without, these would have been some of the taxes that are owed. So in this $300,000 hypothetical scenario, the tax savings would be about 42, or the tax savings advantage would be about 4202 in this hypothetical tax situation. Am I far off from what just basic back the, pretty good? All right. So
Is that without being qualified as a real estate professional?
that would be as being qualified. And we could talk about that as well too. So
So you have to be qualified
that would be active because they're under 100,000. So between under 100,000, you can write up to $25,000. Correct? Yeah.
$100,000 W-2 income,
Yeah. So if you make under that, then you can write off up to $25,000.
and if you're over 100,000, you're screwed.
Between 100 and 150, it declines, and after 150, you become passive unless you become a real estate professional. And then once you're passive, you can't deduct any of the expenses.
Ouch.
That sucks.
Well, maybe you could give some at the end some tips and tricks about becoming a real estate investor status. Cash flow. Obviously, you can't be upside down like I used to sell. But I guess a lot of what I talk about here and what I want to get through to you guys is just kind of what your emphasis you're putting on it. I know for me, I had the decision recently to cash out on a BRRRR and get 275 versus I think it was 550 or something like that cash flow. And I went with the lower so I could take that money and put it into something else. But again, my goal with that property is it was a single family home. I bought it. I have 100, after it's all said and done, we have about 100,000 equity. I'm making a couple $100 in cash flow. My goal is to have, I did everything, fixed everything up, rehabbed everything, so maintenance should be minimal. But the goal is for that house to be, with rents going up and all that stuff, $3,500 rent and $450,000 here in the next 5 years. If not 5, it'll be 7. So it's going to happen. So I always say this at this point because I know a lot of people. You saw in the beginning 482 BRRRR units we did. Why else do you buy on the south side of Chicago? Right? Cash flow, right? You want that cash flow. You see those big swings. You don't understand all the risks versus the reward that you think you're going to get. But we bought for 100% for cash flow, and we bought cheap. So we bought them, we rehabbed them. We were all in $80,000 a unit at the most, and
Single family homes or multi-unit?
Single family for the most part. Single, 2 flats, 1 to 4 for the most part. But we made all of our money on appreciation. When we looked back in 2019, we calculated like all of our rental returns for that previous 10 years or whatever, as best we could. For everything we owned during the time we owned it, I think we averaged that. We were like, oh, we're gonna go after like 14% cash flow. Like it was definitely double digits. And it was just under 8 that when it was all said and done, when you dealt with all the different things. Now, I feel I did a lot. I made a lot of money. I spent it to other investments and all that stuff. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity and the hard work. But if I would have taken that money and put it somewhere else that I just got a 5% return, I would be a lot further along in my journey. But we made all our money on appreciation. So we basically went into for cash flow and made it all appreciation. And I think I see a lot of investors do that. You're going to do that with your portfolio someday. You ran it to make sure you had cash flow, but those are solid A-type stuff that you're going to ultimately have paid down and get a killing for because they're all Class A properties someday. So cash flow is important because you got to survive and you got to make sure you got enough to that boiler 10 years from now or whatnot. But at the same time, your wealth that you're going to make is going to be built through more than likely the other 4 drivers. But throw it out there. If we're going to focus on cash flow, I got a couple things kind of that I hear people talking about. Charge for utilities. A lot of people, we got these Chicago boiler buildings where it's like you're paying for the whole building, but I'm seeing a lot of landlords, including us, charge for this. So if you got a boiler building, it's now in Logan Square, and you got a 2-flat, and you're just charging $1,800 plus $77 for heat, versus saying it's included in rent. Your benefit, you'll get them rented faster because you're only marking the $1,800 number, and then the print you're saying additional fees per month. Tenant will be responsible for gas at $77 fixed, and you can adjust that number on an annual basis when you're doing it. So I see that everyone's always used to see on Bigger Pockets how do I get separate water meters for mine? It's like, don't do that. Just make them pay for an extra $63, and then if they're averaging more than that, then you have a talk with them, and that renewal you deal with it. So. But when you go out and market for a property, if you need a place in Logan Square today, you go on there, you're like, oh, $1,800. And you're going to probably go see the place, and you're like, oh, damn, there's another $77. So instead of the landlord down the street, that's $1,800 including it. So just another way to capture that. Don't let people move out. If anyone goes on that side of the building, you'll see I write everywhere. Don't let people move out. Like our life is so much easier if we don't have any turnover, and it's in complete alignment with our investors. So back to Southside investing. I mean, you could get, I don't care how much cash flow you get when you got to do $9,000 every turnover. But yeah, don't let people move out. So that comes down to so many different things, right? Obviously, the quality of your unit, maybe how you're responding to your customer service for your units, the way you make your tenants feel, all that type of stuff. So I think there's a lot. I did a podcast with 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝘁 I don't know if anyone caught that, but it was all about the resident experience. He wrote the book, Never Lose a Customer Again, but he did that same kind of message, but around tenants and, tenants, what's death and then moving are like the top two stressful things in people's lives. And you guys get to experience that twice in your tenants' lives. So how you deal with that is a big driver for how they feel about you, how they feel about your unit, how they feel about your relationship. So, but yeah, don't let people move out. Think about it, just like the money that. Yeah. Get the family member in there, man. Like they got your stuff's already in there. You don't have to move it. That's actually one of the biggest pains when somebody passed away. And it's like you gotta wait for the family for 2 months. That's the killer turnover. In the city, I've seen people. We've done this a couple properties. Limited patch. You don't have to. It usually costs about $35, $40 just to have anybody show up if you're gonna hire a service to the city. And if you only have a small patch, put stones, pavers, something like that. We did a podcast episode on that as well too. But get rid of your grass altogether. So that's just, you only got to worry about snow. Contest your property taxes. Who's contesting their property tax here? Yeah, make sure you're doing it. If you're in an HOA, make sure your HOA is doing it. It's just, especially if you're in Cook County, like always doing it. Now here in the northwest suburbs, you got next year, who's hearing all the drama right now about the south suburbs and the tax hikes. We'll have our version of that out here in the northwest part of Cook County and northwest side of the city next year. So just be ready and make sure you got that. Energy and efficiency. So there's free programs out there that they'll come out and they will, especially in the city, if you have a building, I think over a certain age, they'll come out and they'll give you an energy audit for free. I did put a QR code in here. Cash flow. So we talk a lot about buying new properties and new opportunities, but if you got that basement in your 3-flat or your 2-flat that you can't finish or you can't make a legal unit, duplex down, put another 2 bedrooms and put a bathroom down there and get the extra $400 or $500 rent. Add the garage. Garage costs about 20. It'd be a 2-car garage on a standard city lot right now. You're probably about 25, 30 grand. But if you're able to, I think a garage is less reflective of getting higher rent, but it prevents turnover. Garages and laundry. It's really easy to get somebody motivated to move if they have to go down the street, down to the basement to do their laundry, especially this age. How many of you guys grew up with laundry in your home? Yeah, almost all of your residents probably did too. And they're going to, and that's not going to change. So keep that in mind. And same with garage. Man, anyone goes through a winter here, like I'll stay here a year. I'm going to move to a garage next time. So a lot of times you're protecting that. Don't let people move out fact. I put a link here to that energy audit.
So you said we're going to get a copy of this?
Yep, I'll send it out to you guys for sure. The other side of the cash flow, the cash flow is just understanding the management, which kind of prevents the turnover. I put something together. You get the QR code here. It's on our website, but just self-managers. I think there's 15 key things that really will make sure you know these things. A lot of you guys probably know 3/4 of them, but a couple of those little things might be some good tidbits. Who's read this book? I only read this. I read this when I was 41 years old, and I wish I would have read it when I was 21. It just breaks down so much when it comes to money and savings and snowball. A lot of what we're talking about, wealth is cumulative, not necessarily home runs. So thinking about what you're doing today and how you're going to build on it, this book is great. It's really easy to listen too. So I don't read it. I'll usually listen. I'm a big fan of 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝘁. Who likes 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝘁 here? All right, so I'm a big fan of him. This was a great one. It's an episode on modern wisdom. Anyone listen to Modern Wisdom? I love that podcast. I know you do. But me and him always send them back and forth. But this is great. It's like a 3-hour episode, but man, it really helps. I listened to it twice, and it's one of those podcast episodes that really, I think all you guys will be in the same boat of like, oh yeah, that's what's holding me up, or oh man, like it really helps you think a little deep on that. Cool. I was out there what I'm looking for. You know, we're hiring a leasing manager if anyone knows anybody. Vendors for the maintenance team. So if you guys have somebody, know somebody, influence for the podcast, if you know anyone that make a great guest. Any marketing advice, I'm always open to marketing advice, and there's always people that want to help and exchange real estate investing advice for marketing. Sponsorships, and then property manager clients. So I did put the final 2 events that we're going to do this year on the calendar. I'll get these, actually the sign up links. But I think next, for the 14th, what we're going to do is I'm going to have an REO specialist and a wholesaling specialist. I think I'm just going to sit up here and kind of drill them for your guys' benefit. So I think that's what we're going to do next round. And then 2025, I don't know what it's going to be about yet, but I know it's going to be about something we're going to talk about getting ready for 2025. So